The town was quiet. Too quiet. The streets, usually bustling with life, were empty. A stillness hung in the air, heavy and unsettling. Spring had arrived, but the fear that had gripped the town was colder than the winter past. The coronavirus had come. It started slowly, a cough here, a fever there. Then the news reports began, whispers turning to shouts. The virus, they said, was spreading. Panic bloomed, swift and silent like a poisonous flower. The town, once a place of warmth and laughter, held its breath. Fear, an unwelcome guest, had settled in. The people waited, uncertain and afraid, for what the future held. Dr. John Miller was tired, bone-tired. The kind of exhaustion that seeps into your bones and makes every step feel like a marathon. He hadn't seen his own family in days, the separation weighing heavily on his heart. The hospital was overflowing, the air thick with the fear he knew so well. But he kept moving, driven by a sense of duty. One patient, one exam, each interaction a lifeline in the chaos, one treatment at a time, each one a step towards hope. He saw the fear in their eyes, the desperate hope for a cure, a glimmer of light in the darkness. He offered a reassuring smile, a gentle touch, small gestures that meant the world. He told them the truth, even when it was hard, because honesty was a part of healing. He held their hands as they took their last breaths, offering comfort in their final moments. Dr. Miller wasn't a hero. He was a doctor, doing what he had sworn to do. He had taken an oath, a promise to care for those in need, and in the face of fear, in the heart of the storm, he stood firm, unwavering. His courage, quiet and unwavering, was a beacon in the darkness, a light for others to follow.
Pastor Thomas had always believed faith was his bedrock, his solace. But as the virus spread, fear took root in his heart, twisting and turning, choking out the light. He looked out at the empty pews, listened to the silence of his church, and felt a chill run down his spine. Doubt crept in, insidious and relentless. Where was God in all this suffering? Why had he abandoned his flock? The questions echoed in the emptiness of his faith, unanswered and deafening. He canceled services, citing safety concerns. But the truth was, he couldn't bear to face his congregation. He, the shepherd, was lost, his faith shattered by the storm. The silence of his church mirrored the silence within him.
Mayor Johnson saw an opportunity. The virus, a crisis to some, was a chance for him to consolidate power, to line his pockets. He spoke of unity, of strength, but his words rang hollow. His actions whispered a different story. He used the town's dwindling resources to benefit himself and his cronies. Masks and ventilators, meant for the sick and dying, were diverted to private stockpiles. He preached sacrifice, while he feasted on the town's fear. His speeches, once filled with promises of prosperity, now dripped with fear-mongering and thinly veiled threats. He pointed fingers, shifted blame, and stoked the flames of division. In the chaos, he saw not tragedy, but opportunity.
But the people, they were different. They faced fear with a quiet courage. They helped their neighbors, shared what little they had. They sewed masks, delivered groceries, and sang songs from their balconies, a chorus of defiance against the darkness. They mourned their dead, their grief a testament to lives cut short. They found strength in their shared humanity, in the simple acts of kindness that bound them together. They knew fear, yes, but they refused to let it win. They were the backbone of the town, the quiet heroes of an invisible war, and in their resilience, in their unwavering spirit, hope flickered. And Dr. Miller felt a familiar ache in his chest. Exhaustion, grief, a longing for a world without this virus. The weight of the pandemic was relentless, pressing down on him every single day. He had just lost another patient, another soul claimed by this merciless virus. A young mother of 2, her face etched in his memory, her final moments replaying in his mind. He closed his eyes, willing away the tears that threatened to fall, trying to find a moment of peace amidst the chaos. He had to stay strong, not just for himself, but for everyone who depended on him, for his patients, for his town, for himself. The burden was heavy, but he knew he couldn't falter. He walked past the empty waiting room, the silence echoing the emptiness in his heart, a stark reminder of the lives lost. He thought of the countless goodbyes whispered in this room, the tears shed, the lives forever changed. His phone rang, breaking the silence. It was his daughter. He answered, his voice weary but warm, finding a small comfort in the familiar sound of her voice. He listened to her chatter about school, about her day, and for a moment the weight on his chest lifted, replaced by a fleeting sense of normalcy. He held on to her words like a lifeline, a reminder of the life he was fighting for, the future he hoped to protect. The news of Dr. Miller's death spread through the town like wildfire, reaching every corner and every household. He had collapsed in the hospital, another victim of the relentless virus that had already claimed so many lives. Grief, sharp and sudden, ripped through the town, a collective gasp of pain that seemed to echo in every heart. The church bell tolled, a mournful sound that echoed through the empty streets, a somber reminder of the loss they all felt. The flag outside the town hall hung at half-mast, a silent tribute to a fallen hero who had given so much to the community. But even in their grief, the people found strength in each other, leaning on one another for support. They remembered Dr. Miller's courage, his unwavering dedication to his patients, and his tireless efforts to fight the virus. They drew inspiration from his life, from the countless lives he had touched, and the hope he had instilled in them. The next morning, a single bouquet of flowers lay on the steps of the hospital, a silent tribute to a life lost but not forgotten, a symbol of the community's enduring respect and love. And in the hearts of the people, a spark of hope remained, flickering gently but persistently. For they knew, even in the darkest of times, that courage, like a flame, could never truly be extinguished, and that hope would always find a way to shine through.